Please, don't make me undress, the CEO begged, but the cold single dad had no choice. The rain had already soaked the city into a silver blur when Aaron Cole stopped his motorcycle beneath the marble steps of the Orion Tower. He removed his helmet slowly, the water dripping from his hair onto the pavement. People often said he looked unapproachable, sharp jaw, steady eyes, the quiet of a man who had learned not to waste words. A single father, a former engineer, and now a security consultant, Aaron had built a life where emotions stayed locked behind discipline. Tonight, that discipline would be tested. Inside the tower, Victoria Hale, the youngest female CEO in the company's history, sat trembling in a private conference room. Her tailored suit clung uncomfortably to her, not because of vanity, but because something underneath it was wrong. Very wrong. She had ignored the first warning, then the second, but now, her body had begun to react violently. And Aaron had been called. Not as a man, not as a rescuer, but as the only person who knew how to save her life. Victoria had always terrified people. Her calm voice could silence a boardroom. Her gaze could make millionaires stumble over their words. But when Aaron entered the room, she looked nothing like the untouchable CEO the world admired. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow. "You're late," she whispered. "You told me not to rush," Aaron replied evenly, setting his medical bag on the table. "You said it wasn't serious." She swallowed. "I was wrong." Aaron looked at her wrist, where faint bluish veins pulsed unnaturally. He didn't need equipment to know what it meant. "You were poisoned." Her lips trembled. It was supposed to look like stress. Like collapse. Aaron's jaw tightened. "You waited too long." She stood unsteadily. "I can still fix it, right?" "Yes," he said, "but only if you trust me." She nodded, desperate. Then he spoke the words that broke her pride. "You need to take off your jacket. And your blouse." Her eyes widened. "What?" she whispered. "There's a toxin patch beneath your skin. It reacts to body heat and fabric pressure. I can't reach it unless I see it." Her hands clutched her blazer. "Please, don't make me undress." The room fell silent except for the rain against glass. Aaron didn't look away. "This isn't about dignity," he said calmly. "This is about survival." Victoria turned her face aside. "Do you know how many people have tried to look at me like this? Not as a leader, not as a mind, just as a body." Aaron's voice softened, but only slightly. "I'm not here to look at you. I'm here to keep you alive." She laughed bitterly. "You sound so cold." "I am," he replied honestly. "Because warmth clouds judgment." She hesitated, then slowly loosened her blazer. Her movements were stiff, full of resistance and fear. When she began unbuttoning her blouse, her hands shook. Aaron turned his back. "I won't face you until you're ready," he said. That alone made her pause. When she finally spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Okay." He turned back. What he saw was not weakness. It was vulnerability wrapped in strength. A faint dark mark glowed beneath her skin near her shoulder, exactly where he feared it would be. He stepped closer, his eyes focused, professional. "Hold still." She closed her eyes. "I hate feeling helpless." "So do I," he said quietly. "But sometimes helplessness is just trust in disguise." As he worked, memories rose in his mind, his late wife lying in a hospital bed, begging him not to leave her side. His daughter waiting at home tonight, probably asleep with his jacket around her pillow. Aaron had promised himself he would never let another person suffer because he hesitated. Victoria suddenly winced. "It burns." "That means it's reacting," he said. "You're still in time." She whispered, "Why are you helping me like this? You could have refused." He paused. "Because my daughter once asked me why good people still get hurt," he said. "And I told her, because not enough people step in." Victoria opened her eyes slowly. For the first time, she wasn't looking at him as an employee. She was looking at him as a man. When the toxin patch finally loosened beneath his careful pressure, Victoria gasped in relief. Her breathing steadied, her skin slowly returned to its normal tone. Aaron stepped back, exhaling for the first time. "It's done." She looked at him, tears pooling silently. "You saved me." He handed her a cloth. "You saved yourself by calling me." She quickly adjusted her blouse, embarrassed but grateful. Then she surprised him. She bowed her head. The CEO of Orion Industries bowed to a single father consultant. "I thought power meant control," she said softly. "Tonight, I learned it also means surrendering when you must." Aaron gave a small nod. "And I learned that even the strongest people still need someone who doesn't judge them." The storm outside eased. Inside, something else had changed. Victoria stood taller, but her eyes were different, softer. You could have humiliated me, she said. You didn't. I have a daughter, he replied. One day she'll be a woman in a world that tests her. I want men around her who choose respect over curiosity. Her throat tightened. You're not cold, she said. He smiled faintly. I'm just careful with warmth. Weeks later, the company publicly announced a new division focused on ethical leadership and human-centered security. Aaron was appointed its head, not because of his skills, but because of his character. Victoria never spoke of that night. But sometimes, in quiet meetings, she would look at him with gratitude that words could never express. And Aaron would return the look with the calm understanding of a man who knew. Strength is not in commanding others to undress their armor. Strength is in protecting what lies beneath it. Final note: this was not a story about humiliation. It was a story about trust. About dignity. About how even the most powerful people sometimes whisper, "Please, don't make me undress." Not because they fear exposure, but because they fear being seen. And about how one cold single dad proved that respect can save a life. If you'd like, I can now write title plus SEO description plus keywords plus hashtags. A darker version, a romantic continuation, or a YouTube story format version with hooks and cliffhangers.